I have described for you the fine matter world, which is all levels of human consciousness, all different human spirits together striving for their own independent spiritual growth or evolution through the knowledge and wisdom obtained over many lifetimes. So long as the independent human spirit continues to evolve into a higher frequency state, they will continue to be reincarnated again and again. Ultimately, it is the most advanced and forever evolving human consciousness that we call God, and can create not only nature and planets, but humankind out of her own consciousness. In space, fine matter begins to solidify first into a gaseous state. This development can be observed through the 7 levels of atoms. It is the fine matter which begins to form the gaseous planets, which solidify into what is called coarse or crude matter, which forms the planet by separating into solids, liquids, and gases, atmosphere. Of course, all new planets must begin their own path of consciousness, and initially, nature prevails at the foundation for more advanced life, which will come much later. So we observe the fossil record of prehistoric Earth. And at the top of the food chain at that time are, of course, the giant dinosaurs, which thrived in the mostly hot tropical climate of primitive Earth. They grew to great sizes, these cold-blooded giant reptiles, because they were perfectly suited for life at this point on the planet, and they flourished. Now, this is where science has erred. Just because we have records of these great dinosaurs, scientific minds have gone wild, and we have all seen an illustration of prehistoric Earth. You might have seen a brontosaurus out in the swamp looking for certain plants to eat, and stalking it in the background is a Tyrannosaurus Rex. And then the artist has taken the liberty to draw a giant daffodil where there's a giant mosquito looking at all this. Now, does that make any sense? It doesn't to me, because what do we know about the natural cycle? What do we know about the food chain? We know the food chain exists from the smallest microscopic organism up to the tiniest insects and predatory insects like the praying mantis, to birds, to larger birds, to animals and snakes. And in prehistoric time, the top of the food chain went all the way up to the dinosaur. So evidence of some of these giant life forms do not suggest that all life was giant at this time, because that would have spelled ruin for the natural cycle and food chain. If everything was giant, then what was in the middle to small size? There would be a big gap in the food chain, and that would cause everything else to fail. So in prehistoric times, we still had much of the same plants and animals that we have now. Plus, at the top of the food chain, we had these giant-sized creatures that existed at the top of their cycle, perfectly suited for the climate of their time. Now, those of you who think the dinosaurs were forced to evolve quickly into animals and birds and the giant reptiles that we have today are missing basically all your proof. Show me the creature found in between the dinosaur and warm-blooded animals and I'll shut up. Show me the goat snake. Show me the raptor bear. Show me the brontosaurus ape. Just like there is no proof of evolution happening in today's natural cycle, flies do not evolve into birds, birds don't evolve into lizards, apes do not evolve into man. If evolution was true, then we'd see apes giving birth to smarter and smarter apes and eventually caveman right in front of us. And if apes did evolve into cavemen, to use their scientific and voided terms, it would leave a selection of the natural cycle unfulfilled, and in their absence, that would spell absolute ruin for every other creature of that cycle. It would be a broken link in the food chain, and everything else would suffer. So think about evolution. There's no proof of evolution today. If white men move to Africa, they don't evolve into black people. If black men move to America, they don't change into white people. Why do you believe the theories of evolution when you have no proof? I want you all to imagine the Ice Age now. Due to an asteroid collision, significant catastrophic earth changes are happening on the planet. This wipes out almost every animal out of existence. Ice and snow covered the earth primarily, and every dinosaur, cold-blooded dinosaur, they couldn't hack that. They're gone. End of their cycle. Now I want you to imagine a herd of mammoths charging through the fine matter world, through the spiritual world of human consciousness. And due to the sheer will of human consciousness, this herd of woolly mammoth begin to form into atoms from the fine matter world. From every step they take, they grow more real. And then they are formed perfectly for that cycle, perfectly for that climate, that point of time. The cold-blooded giants of the past, they couldn't deal with this. But now the world is best suited for warm-blooded creatures. The saber-toothed tiger and the woolly mammoth prevailed. They did not evolve from dinosaurs, just like they would not evolve into tigers and elephants. When the cold cycle stopped and it began to warm up, they simply died off at the end of their cycle. And nature begins growing new life for the new cycle after that. And this provided the basis for human life to begin her cycle on this planet. As we observe nature, we see that every creature is perfectly suited to survive within their environment naturally. Only human beings are the exception, for we must alter our environment to survive. If it's creating tools, controlling fire or heat, building shelters, working together as tribes, this separates ourselves from the rest of nature, and we must do this to survive. That means work together. However, through the bad science of evolution, we are taught to believe that we are a product of only a material evolution of nature. Your leaders even strive to convince you that you have once evolved from the dinosaur, from the giant ape man. Here I ask you to consider who has been running things in the human empire for so long. If you believe that you've evolved from large reptiles or ape people, and not born out of advanced consciousness of humankind. To believe in evolution is also to provoke not only lies but racism as well. Because if we are just big-headed apes, then who among us is the missing link? Is it the hairy white man? Or is it the dark-skinned peoples? It is neither. All races were first, all races were last. No earthbound race developed from another. For the human spirit to evolve in love and compassion, he or she must experience the entire human experience. The dimensions of such regarded by the many races we see on planet Earth. And if we can't get it right here, working together, if we can't truly evolve, and that means spiritually, then who are we to represent the human race? And we won't make it out to the stars. And if we fail, we will continue to blow ourselves up in wars and basically start over and over and over again in primitive human form. However, if you go forth without hate and have an open heart, you will experience the genius of all human races, to truly grow in wisdom and compassion and gain the full knowledge of the human experience. So Earth is beautiful. It's a beautiful place of many landforms and climates, and each land is filled with human beings best suited for that environment. This is why the earth is too important for us not to understand that the Creator's people are of every race and every color, and as they develop, they will maintain their genetic and racial structure. This is absolutely necessary for us to understand in order to spiritually evolve.